everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. And Brent Duncan joins us. And Brent, always happy to have you with us.
I'm glad to be back.
Anything new going on?
Not really anything going on right now, so nothing new.
You're at the ICAA. They were going to have the tourneys without anybody there. Family and people needed to run it. Was that a lone decision by the commissioner, or did you help him?
Well, I had no part of that, but I'm sure he got help with people outside of that office. So, and then of course it ended up before it ever got to that point.
Yes,
so,
yes.
Probably rightly so with everything is right now. So,
is it probably permanent? I know it's just postponed now, but is the cancellation word right around the corner?
I can't say, don't know. My speculation would be probably yes, but I don't have a definite on that. I don't think anybody knows how long it's going to be before we can gather back in larger groups. And you know, at a certain point in time, you either got to change it from Banker's Life to just a high school, and then you know, just the logistics and how many days you've been out. Would you have to get more practices in, and then so there's a lot of other things other than just playing the game that comes into effect. So
right. Is it true some of the host schools decided not to proceed with the regionals?
I think there were at least 3 they were looking for new, and they found 2. Couldn't find a third. Don't know exactly where those were at. I didn't hear any of their names. So,
you know the reason why the original schools?
I do not know. They didn't explain that. So,
okay,
it's not unprecedented that a tournament be postponed. We did that back in the '70s during the coal strike. That it was postponed for a while. But,
in 1978, yes, it was in April before they concluded the tournaments.
Was that the years of the energy crisis?
The energy crisis and the
played
blizzard.
A lot of games in the afternoon those years. I remember that.
And I remember a cold Spartan Bowl playing Jay County. I think the first time we ever played them, it was on a Saturday afternoon, and it was cold in Spartan Bowl.
I remember some people sitting there over time with blankets on before, so. But I wasn't back in the 70s when I was here. I think it's only been canceled maybe one other time, and or at least back into the 1918s or 1910s, the teens back before they ever canceled a tournament.
Right.
Before is what Commissioner Cox had said, but I didn't go back and research it, so I took his word for it.
So until this epidemic peaks and the cases start to decline, there's no chance. And the national emergency is canceled, I guess.
Yeah, until something drastically changes, I don't see it coming back. You know, all of our spring sports are on hiatus until at least April 13th, and that's just 2 weeks after we get back from spring break. So that's still 3 more weeks out. And then if you stop to think about that, baseball, tennis, and golf do not have a practice in yet. So then you got to go 10 more days after that before they can. So they couldn't even get into a first competition until about April 24th. And if it expands any longer than that, you're into May, and then it's like we're running out of time. So.
Right.
I'd be curious to see what happens in the spring. I hope for the kids' part, especially the seniors, that it happens. But at this time, as everybody says, they're just uncharted waters, and it's hard to say where we're headed or what's going on. As last I heard today, it was now down to 10 people in a group, and no more dine-in, and everything's carry-out or take-out, or carry-out or pick-up. But it's an interesting time. Hopefully we don't have to do it long or ever have to see it again. So
I think that once it is over, that there'll be a lot of pent-up energy, and not only the kids, but the fans too. People want to get out and do something when it is over. But we just don't know.
Well, I think you take so many things for granted. Then when you don't have it, it's like, ooh, it's like me sitting at home. Like I can't find a sporting event on TV that I watch. And I'm not a big movie guy, but I got to find myself watching movies anymore. And I'm like,
it's not so good.
So you take so many things for granted until you can't have them. Then you don't know how good you have it until you can't experience it anymore. So hopefully it'll be a short term one, but we're not in control of that one.
That's true. The IHSA, are they looking at any rules changes in any of the sports in high schools?
No, I mean, I don't know if any rules changed. You know, we changed the rules in football a couple of years ago with the play clock and the 40-second clock and
mercy rule.
The mercy rule. They've talked about some of those things in soccer and baseball, but softball. But you know, soccer's a running clock. So what do you do when you get a mercy rule? You take 5 minutes off the clock? I don't know. So only thing I wish they changed in soccer is the overtime. So if it's tied after 80 minutes, let's just go to the PT kicks. And let's go. We just played for 80 minutes and got a tie ball game, so let's go shoot out. But they kind of follow the national rules with what the colleges do. So, but nothing major. Pitch counts in baseball still there. And, they're thinking about changing some things for baseball in the summertime and arm care and those things. But they'll be voted on if we get to have principals meetings here coming in April. So we'll see how those goes, because those gatherings are larger than 50. I promise you. When we all meet in the district. So.
Maybe teleconference somehow.
It's a possibility. Our next board meeting is Wednesday. It's supposed to be next Friday, but it's now Wednesday via Zoom or something on the internet. So we all have to be able to get onto the phone lines and have a 2-hour meeting with everybody. So that'll be a change. So, and I think the IHSA today went to a remote workstation so people can work from their house. And who knows where everything's headed right now.
What about you? You able to work from your house, or?
I don't know yet.
Really?
Haven't been discussed. So I'll be there tomorrow. So we'll have more direction tomorrow. I think there's some things in the pipeline today with the school board, I think, but I can't say for sure. But I think we'll get more direction tomorrow from everybody. So.
How many members on the IHSA executive committee?
19.
Okay. So get 10, you got a quorum.
Well, so to speak, I guess. So.
Well, you can do business.
Well, it's just a strange time because, they're in the process of looking for a new commissioner. And
Sure.
now we're all kind of on shutdown for a while. And there's been interviews done, and now you got to follow up. And so if you hire a commissioner that's on staff, then you may have an open assistant commissioner job, and then you're on hold because you can't interview anybody for that job. So there's some dominoes that take place once everything gets back in business order. So
Maybe Mr. Cox will change his mind and say, I'll continue on.
I'm not sure about that one.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it could be out of necessity, I guess, but I don't know that will be the case. I think he's building a new home in Florida, and I think he's anxious to get down there in the wintertime and off his house at the lake in the summertime. So.
Okay. Well, that idea is out there.
I think, he did it for 20 years, 10 as the assistant commissioner and 10 as the commissioner, and I think it's just time for him to,
Sure.
he said, to enjoy his lovely bride and play a lot of golf.
Wish him well. He's a real gentleman.
I think he really did a lot for the IHSA compared, not that Blake didn't do a lot before that, but I think Bobby's taken it to the next level as far as technology, the streamlining of the games, the broadcast, the partnerships with the Colts and the Pacers and the Fever, and the Indians with the venues and all the places they've got all of our state finals in now. So I think they've done a good job of advancing, and you just hope the next person can take it to the next level and enhance on what we have. So we'll see.
There may or may not be any school the rest of the year, right? School year.
I think that's always a possibility, but that'd be my speculation at this time. But as of right now, we're out to the 13th. So once you start thinking of April 13th, you're only 5 weeks away from being at the end of the school year. So who knows what's going to happen with the state and decisions made by the governor and everybody else. So
Yes.
I'm sure they're getting direction from the president and those people to help lead them in their direction. So we'll see where it goes. It's definitely, hopefully, it's a once-in-a-lifetime adventure for us all.
And I know basketball has camps and things scheduled for June, and they or may not materialize.
Yeah, there's a lot of things, somebody said today they don't think the peak time might be July and August, so I don't know. You hear different stories, so it's hard for me to sit and speculate what may happen. But hopefully, as of April 13th, we'll be back in session, and we'll be moving forward, but that's yet to be determined as well. So.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get back to normal.
I think a lot of people would enjoy that. A lot of parents who have kids is now scrambling to find daycare when it's as out of norm at this time of the year. They're not ready for it now. They kind of get prepared for summertime, and then, teachers are not working, and they got kids that are in school in your classrooms. And I know my second grader cried when he found out he couldn't be with his teacher for the next 2 or 3 weeks because he really likes her. And so it's probably his first crush. I don't know, But those kids are used to having that comfort zone in those classrooms with the teacher every day, and it's something safe, and they're all comfortable being in there, and they know they're taken care of, and everybody cares about them. So that's a different change for them at this time. So,
and young ones being home, many times grandparents would watch them, but they're saying that's maybe not the best thing to do either, to be. Because young ones may not get sick, but they may have the virus, and it's just a difficult time. It would be hard decisions to make.
Well, there's just no easy answer, and there's no protocol. There's no, hey, this happened before. We know to do step A, step B, step C. It's all trying to do the best decision you can at the time that you get all the information you have and make the best decision that you can make, and then you run with it. And then if that changes, you got to alter your plans and go again. So.
And it's been changing daily, which I think is understandable in that the more they learn about it, the more cautious we become. So I'd say better to err on the side of caution.
Well, we were talking about that last Wednesday when we were in Indianapolis as a group. We got done and started supper about 7, and just from the time we started supper at 7 to about halftime of the Xavier game we were watching, just the amount of things that had changed in those 2 to 2.5 hours was just unbelievable. So who knows what will be the next hour from now or the next 45 minutes. You just kind of listen and learn and make the best decisions that you can as a corporation, and hopefully do the right things. So
I think that while I thought it was a little strange at the time, but looking back on it, when they stopped the Creighton St. John's at halftime and said, "We're done."
Right.
You know, at the time I thought, why can't you go ahead and just finish that one game? But probably was the right thing to do.
well, you know, and the NBA pulled the plug right before they got ready to tip on that game, and then once they found out the 2 guys were positive, then it just started expanding. And once the NBA and the professional teams go and the college teams go, it puts you in a little bit of a pinch. Although they're in a different situation because they're more easily traveled to different places and we're kind of isolated, but that doesn't mean some of our people haven't been out places or around people that have been traveling, and then you don't know. As you said, you never know who the carrier is, and it tends to be the younger people so far haven't been sick, and not the case always if you already have, you know, something you got health issues to
Right.
start with, but hopefully it doesn't affect too many people, but you don't know at this time.
The kids out for spring sports, are they urged to go to Roberts Park? And
They're not urged or told to do anything.
okay.
My coaches have been directed to stay hands off. If the kids get themselves together and do something, that's
Okay.
their choice. But nothing's coach, adult, led, or encouraged. So
Did that
Man,
come from
that
above?
came from me.
Oh,
Well, that's
More
pretty
than
high up.
once. More than once. So, you know, it's hard when you're outside. You're going to drive by Claypool, and if there's kids out there playing, you're going to go tell them to get off. I don't know. But, you know, when people walk our track at the high school, and people come and play on our tennis courts all times of the years, and not just kids, there's adults out there. So right now they're outside, they can do that. But none of our people that are with us or any ties to us better have anything to do with any of them kids getting together. So they've all been told that. So,
okay.
you know, when we get to April 13th, we'll cross that bridge again. So, and it could change. I mean, tomorrow could say we got another week. So
Sure.
that date's fluctuating at times. Right now it's solid at April 12th is the last time, and April 13th we'll start back up. And once we know something more, we'll put something else out. So.
We've talked about kids being, I've talked to coaches about it after a loss or something, being resilient and coming back, and that's as much mental as anything. But I think that most of our kids are probably in pretty good shape that participate in athletics, and the resiliency from a physical standpoint, they should pop back pretty quick, I would.
Well, you'd like to think so. I'm a little bit far removed from my playing days, so it's hard to remember. But I don't remember being inactive even when I wasn't in season. And I can't speak for the day because, you know, technology has changed so many things. But, you know, I think back to when I was a kid, I was never in the house. I don't know if that's the case anymore, but you'd like to think they're staying active and out doing things. But right now, you know, you're encouraged not even to be out. But there are things they can do inside their own
Do
house or at
sit-ups
their
and
place
push-ups and that kind
to
of
keep
thing.
themselves in shape. So they can always run.
Sure.
So I know they don't like to do that, but that'll keep you in shape. So
The fall sports begins during the summer. Training does. Practices.
all of them start in the summer. So we're hoping that we're all back in business by then.
August
So.
the 4th is when schools resume according to the calendar. And on the 14th, you're trying to get a scrimmage in August. Do you have that yet?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that. We have one, but the school board scrimmages didn't think we had one until I threw the contract back at them. So we're in negotiations with a couple things.
Okay.
You know, after next year, I don't think we'll have a scrimmage anymore. It'll be a jamboree with the 8 schools, and we're going to try to get through one more year, and maybe 2. I'll have to go back and look if we're starting next year or the year after. But next year we still have a scrimmage. We thought it was with Monrovia. Monrovia thought it was not any good, and they knew they had one for this year, and I said, well, you should have known you had one for the next 3 because here's the same contract that had this one on it. So it goes, and it's a new AD, so I don't know if the paperwork got shuffled somewhere. So we'll have a scrimmage with somebody. It might be Monrovia and Brown County in a 3-way. It might be Milan and South Dearborn in a 3-way.
Okay.
So we'll figure, but there'll be something unless somebody out of the woodwork says, I need a scrimmage for this date, we'll call them. So we'll get them down here or wherever. So.
Jamboree has 8 teams in it?
Well, if we do a jamboree in our conference, there'll be 2 different sites with 4 schools from the EIC at one site and 4 schools at another site. And we'll help use that money raised to offset some of the conference fees for trophies and the medals that they get from individual things. So.
Would that be a revolving thing? Would it be the same 2 schools each year?
Hasn't been discussed yet. It might be North playing South one year or East playing West.
Okay.
It could fluctuate, I would think. I don't think anybody that, for like us, we play Franklin County in week 2. We probably don't want to play Franklin County in the scrimmage, 2 weeks before you play them.
Sure.
So it just depends. So we would probably never play Franklin County. So just because of how close we play them to the beginning. And like Lawrenceburg and East Central plays week 1, they aren't going to want to play each other in the scrimmage and try to play each other the next week. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Well, it sounds good.
What's the advantage, Jamboree over?
I don't know if it's any more advantage that just, I think the coaches wanted to play Jamboree. It's more game-like, I think, for them.
Yes.
So, but I'm sure there are stricter, there's some rules and guidelines. I haven't studied them greatly because it hasn't been here yet, but I know, like, if you start on offense one quarter, the next time you're out, you start on defense. Because, in the Jamboree, if I start on offense and I'm a grinded-out guy, I might have the ball on offense the whole quarter, and they never play defense, the other team never plays offense. So there'll be some of that. If you start one way one period, you'll start on the other side the next period. So, but I think the coaches have been talking. There's been a couple places that already gone to jamborees. You could have had jamborees the last couple of years. So we just haven't ventured that. And finally, some football coaches got together and said, let's try it. So if they're willing to try it, it doesn't matter to me.
Yeah.
If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. So.
Well, all the facilities could handle it, couldn't they? I mean.
Oh yeah, I think everybody's got enough space and field time and bleacher space to get everybody in there. And I'd like to think you have pretty good gates because you got 4 schools coming in, and they're going to bring more people than just the 2.
Sure.
So hopefully, and it'd be a good thing for all of us. Hopefully in the end. So.
It sounds like a good idea, and hopefully it'll work out.
Give that to the football coaches for that one. So.
Good deal.
August 21st, that first football game. I can't tell you exactly how many days. But
with the Red Devils.
With the Red Devils. Yeah.
That would be at our place this year.
One of the R's.
That'd be at our place this year. So.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing.
So, oh yeah, but hopefully we'll be ready to go by then. It's so unknown right now. I don't know where we're going. So.
Well, we're going to think positive.
Well, that's my goal. I mean, everything shall pass at some point in time. It's just a matter of when's that point, when's that time. So hopefully sooner than later.
What are the other fall sports?
We're going to name all? It's boys and girls cross country. You want me to do the boys sports first or the girls sports? We got girls cross country, girls golf, girls soccer, and volleyball. We got boys cross country, football, boys soccer, and tennis. Spartanettes and cheerleading. So if you want to count, you got 10 in the fall.
You better rest up now because you've got a busy fall.
I always say sleep is an unnecessary evil. So.
It's a big job.
I think it takes a lot of people. So, Trent Liggett in the background, and before that, Shane Russell, and of course now Mandy Harvey, and we've had Beth Ann Pearson and Wendy Sargent as the athletic secretaries.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Edgecombe does a great job with the field. So without all of us, it doesn't work very well. So we all have to be on the same page, moving the same buckets.
Sure.
So,
Brian's got a big job, doesn't he?
I think more than people really understand what he does in the daytime. So he ran to Ball State today to get our gymnastics back from the state meet. So he dropped them back off today. So that was good. Saved me a little bit of time and a little bit of energy. But
what's his official title?
Athletic custodian.
Okay.
So
it means he cuts the grass at Spartan Field?
Cuts the grass, stripes the fields, cleans the locker rooms, picks up the trash, gets the press box ready, gets the bowl ready, sweeps the floor, mops the floor, Zambonis the floor.
The field, that's not just the football field. That's
Oh, that's football, soccer, baseball, softball.
Yes.
They all look
The
good.
practice areas, the trimming, making sure the toilet paper is in the bathrooms. That's hard to find right now, I guess. But but he does a lot. The people paints in the summertime.
He doesn't have an assistant.
He does not have an
I was
assistant.
going to say he does not have an
He used to have
assistant.
a halftime person or a summertime person,
Mm-hmm.
but not in the last 6 or 7 years. So
Yeah, he's invaluable. I mean, at Spartan Bowl,
I hope he never wants to change his job because he does a good job at it. So
he even moves the scores table.
he puts it all up. If you come to the game, everything's set up because Brian has it set up. Washes the backboards and does all those good things.
Yeah, he does a good job, and he likes it.
I think he likes the change of pace. You know, he's outside in the fall, and then the winter is inside, and then back outside in the fall. And of course, you know, Brian, he's huge into antiquing and does a lot of that flea market stuff and finds those valuable little things that nobody else knows they are. And I think if he felt like he could make his living doing that, he'd probably just do that for his career. But he kind of likes it. He's great with flowers. He's a heck of a cook. So if you ever seen his house, it's always nice.
Quite a flower garden up there on Grand Avenue.
He does. I think he actually had the Fayette County House of the Year or whatever you called it, so 2 years ago. So does a
Yeah.
good job.
He's a good worker, and I know you're very happy to have someone like
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Maybe we ought to get him in here and talk to him sometime.
think
If he
You,
had time, he may not have
You
time.
may not get a word out of him. He's pretty quiet, so
Well, he might know some things about you that
you might.
you're not willing to share with
He
us.
might. So I might have to put him on double top secret probation and secrecy.
Yeah, right. That's
So-
it. So, athletic directors with the schools, all the schools closed in Indiana.
Can't answer that one, but I would say if not, most of them are.
Well, I'm
so.
surprised the governor hasn't.
Well, I think you're hoping sometimes as the leaders of schools that you get some guidance in a
Sure.
situation where you haven't had to deal with before so that you know what you are doing and kind of make plans for yourselves.
I think it'd be a great risk to keep schools open.
Well, I know that the governor did give a 20-day waiver for
Right, for
the
school.
teachers and students.
You don't have to make them up or anything,
Right.
right?
Yeah, as long as you apply for the waiver and you get everything set in line, you don't have to make those days up. So.
Well, that was a smart move. And,
Yeah, I hope it's not for the whole school year. So,
Oh,
I mean, I don't know yet. You just,
yeah, I'm like you. I would think all schools would take advantage of that because of the risk factor of.
well, you know, unless somebody says don't travel, there are going to be people who travel next week on spring break. I have no doubt about that. There
Sure.
are people traveling this week on spring break. So, if that incubation period is 2 weeks, then once you get back, you know you better sit out 2 weeks because you could be infected
Yeah.
just by being on a plane or being on a train or being on a boat or wherever you're going. So, just driving to the next town. So,
Yeah, I would think it'd be a great risk to get on an airplane or a train.
I asked
It's
my
just-
wife if she was flying to Colorado for spring break, and she said she didn't think she wanted to be on the plane. So, I said, you
Flights
could-
are cheap right now.
our flights are cheap anyway, since her brother works for United.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but I don't know. It'd be interesting to see where things are headed. You can't say before because it's not happened. So, at least not in my lifetime.
Well, I hope the peak is maybe days away and then things can start.
Well, I think they said China hadn't had too many more confirmed cases in the last week or so. So, but somebody said they were a 50-day process from the time they really knew it was heaven to the end. So, if we're 50 days out, that's another 6 or 7 weeks. So, but you can hear what you want to hear and see what you want to see, depending on what station you want to listen to. So,
I'll just keep it tuned here to TV3.
you can do that as well.
Yeah. And maybe you don't have to worry about so much of that.
Yeah, some days that's not a bad idea.
And I think that is. Some days, I mean, get the news, but some days it's better not to just sit and watch it all
Well, we
day.
had people talking about way back to the Cuban Missile Crisis. If we had social media then, we'd probably all been in bunkers. I mean, it'd been doomsday. So just, not that it's not a serious situation, because I think it is, but I think the social media has acerbated that and pushed it a little bit further than we typically would have gotten 25, 30 years ago. So
Kind of a
not that it's
two-edged
good or
sword.
bad, yes.
But,
Good that you have the knowledge, but sometimes can make you more scary on the other edge of that. So hopefully we have the right people in the right places making the right decisions. So, and then maybe we'll get back to sports.
well, that is what makes the world go around.
Well, I think it's, especially high school, it's the purest form for me. I mean, it's just kids wanting to win and compete and do their best, and hopefully we give them the opportunity to do that with everybody that's in place. So, and hopefully that'll be soon again.
Yeah, normal times we don't appreciate, I guess, until we have times like this, and then we realize what we had.
Next year, if we're through this, yeah, we look back and appreciate what we're experiencing then.
Yes.
Well, you feel bad for the kids that are seniors if nothing happens.
Right.
True.
You know, especially if they're a single sport athlete where they only play, spring sport with baseball or softball or tennis or track or golf, for the genders. But, if they're just a one sport athlete and this is your season, it's not looming well for you right now. There's lots of kids out there.
Maybe that season you're looking to excel and hoping some college scouts are looking at you and they're not able to do that.
Yep.
It makes
Lots of things down the road that you don't know will happen based on what we're at right now. So
I heard some talk about possibly NCAA allowing seniors another year of eligibility, which may or may not be all right. I don't
seniors
know.
of spring sports only, I think.
Spring sports only. Okay.
No talk of that in the IHSA. So
No. Well, and how could you?
you can't.
Yeah.
You have 8 semesters based on their rules from the follow-up.
Right.
And it's a little different than the college life.
Right, because once you graduate, maybe you go on to college, but
Right.
a senior in college can go on and take graduate
Right.
work and still be there.
Right.
I'm sure the kids are missing the winter awards program.
Well, I hope they are, but we'll make sure they get the awards that they want. It may not be in the form of a banquet or something, but we'll make sure they get their stuff.
Man, I hadn't even thought about that. I'm going to miss the banquet.
So the basketball banquet was canceled for this Thursday, and our winter awards banquet for this Wednesday's been canceled. And we'll make sure we'll get everything out to the kids that they need to get out to. So.
And those selections are made by the kids, right? By the teams.
Yeah, they may have to do that via text messages. I don't know. Hopefully they've already voted and had it done prior to now. So if so, I'll just get with the coaches and they can send to who's going to win the MVP and who's going to win the BMA, and we'll get them to them by mail or by hand, depending on the situation. So.
Yeah, that's a great event. I know they look forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to recognize your kids and that have done something good for the year, and or just been a part of something that's been pretty solid, or they've won their blanket, or they've gotten their clock, or whatever it happens to be. So,
Right. But, well, as I said, we can hope things get back to where they should be.
quicker than later.
Right.
That would be
Right.
better.
Yeah.
So, for everybody involved. So,
Are you in contact with any athletic directors anywhere?
well, I've been working on trying to get schedules put out for next, in case we get back in school. I would like to play for a conference title in baseball, softball, and tennis, but you got to get those matches in before the sectional or conference tennis match. So I sent out a tentative schedule yesterday. Some said looks good, and some said no, I just want to start where we're at. Well, I don't want to start where we're at because I just don't want to play to play. I want to play to have something meaningful to play for. And a conference title would be something that the kids, because golf and track will have one because they just have one day to do theirs. Where baseball, softball, and tennis has to have more than one day. So.
Would that be majority rule of the schools in the conference, or would that be up to each individual?
I hope we're all on the same page. We talked about maybe meeting at the end of the week or the first of the week to discuss.
Well, you can do that because there's 8 of you and not 10.
That's
well, right
correct.
now you could.
We could do that with 8, so 9 if the secretary comes. So and just I don't know. We can't be in a building where we could eat. We'd have to all be by ourselves and bring a sack lunch or
Well,
something.
you can do that.
So,
Well, we wanted to thank all of our viewers for watching. We're going to shut down the show now since sports are at a halt. So we don't have any Spartan sports to talk about. We want to thank Brent Duncan for being our #1 guest for this season, and you're always welcome.
well, I like to come, but I'd rather my coaches. But sometimes they just can't seem to get there because of practices. So.
Sam, I know you join me in thanking your viewers.
Absolutely, and it's been fun working with you and
you.
with Brent and all the coaches and players that we've talked to.
Thanks, everybody, for watching the Spartan Sports Report. We'll be back in early August. Thanks again. Good night.